Good Morning Britain flooded with complaints as fans demand Adil Ray axe. Good Morning Britain presenter Adil Ray came under fire for comments he made during an interview with Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood. Adil Ray faced a wave of criticism following his interview with Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood on Good Morning Britain. The Labour politician appeared on the programme alongside co-host Kate Garraway on Friday, following the tragic attack at the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Manchester. During the incident, Jihad al-Shami drove into the synagogue's gates and launched a knife attack, killing 2 people and seriously injuring 3 others. Witnesses described him as targeting anyone and everyone during the rampage. Adil and Kate questioned the Home Secretary on what measures the government is taking to protect Jewish communities in the UK. However, some viewers accused Adil of shifting the conversation to focus on the Muslim community, prompting a backlash on social media and a surge of complaints. One wrote, "Why is he equating and talking about Islamophobia? It's typical. An Islamist extremist kills Jews and he asks how we can protect the Muslims community." Demanding his removal from the show, another raged, "Adil seriously needs to be taken off air. This is about the Jewish community and keeping everyone safe regardless of race and religion. Why does he keep bringing up the Muslim community?" A third said, "Adil making it all about the Muslim surprise surprise. We can remind at Adil Ray that this is about the racist murder of Jews. All racism and attacks such as this are obscene, but it's not a competition. The focus here should be abhorrent anti-Semitism. Conflation isn't useful." Echoing this, a fourth agreed, "Just when you thought the last Home Secretary was useless and insincere, along comes another one, who is actually worse. She clearly went to the same charm-less school as all the other cabinet ministers. I wouldn't believe her if she said water was wet. Don't get me started on Adil." During the interview he said, "A lot of people are saying that the Jewish community are fearful of their lives and their future here. I know people of the Muslim community are feeling the same way because of some of the anti-hate that your family members and people in your community, the same community that I come from, have suffered. What are you going to do to ensure Jewish communities, Muslim communities and minorities that Britain is in a situation that none of us would have ever imagined?" Mahmood responded, "My first responsibility is the safety and security of our country. That is what I am absolutely focused on and determined to deliver so that all of our citizens can feel safe." It was meant to be just another lively morning on ITV's Good Morning Britain, the usual blend of headlines, political sparring, light-hearted human interest stories, and celebrity interviews. But viewers who tuned in on Thursday morning were quick to take to social media, and the show's inbox, to express outrage. By mid-morning, #AxeAdil was trending on X, formerly Twitter, and producers were fielding a deluge of complaints. At the center of the storm? Adil Ray, the actor, comedian, and broadcaster who has become a semi-regular presenter on GMB. Known for his outspoken opinions and sharp sense of humor, Ray has long divided the show's audience. But this week, his comments and handling of interviews left viewers more riled than ever. A divisive presenter. Adil Ray first joined the Good Morning Britain lineup as a guest presenter, later stepping in more regularly to cover alongside Susanna Reid, Charlotte Hawkins, or Ranveer Singh. While ITV praised him for bringing fresh energy to the program, viewers have often been split. Some praise him for being witty, direct, and unafraid to ask tough questions. Others accuse him of arrogance, bias, and even grandstanding. His critics argue that his approach feels more like a comedian playing host than a seasoned journalist steering national debate. On this particular morning, the complaints began almost instantly after his opening exchange with Susanna Reid. A seemingly throwaway quip about politicians being clowns in a circus set the tone, and things only escalated from there. The interview that sparked the backlash. The flashpoint came during an interview with a government minister about the ongoing cost of living crisis. Ray repeatedly interrupted, pressed the minister aggressively, and dismissed some of their answers as nonsense. While GMB has a history of robust interviewing, Piers Morgan built his reputation on it, viewers felt Ray crossed a line. Social media exploded with criticism. Adil Ray is painful to watch. He thinks he's Piers Morgan but he's not. Susanna looks embarrassed half the time he's talking. He makes it about himself, not the guest. ITV needs to get rid of him. By the time the segment wrapped, the #Adil Ray out was gaining traction, with dozens of viewers tagging ITV directly and threatening to switch off the program. Flooded with complaints. ITV's viewer services team, who handle complaints and feedback, were reportedly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of messages. According to insiders, hundreds of emails and calls had poured in before lunchtime. One staffer allegedly described it as the busiest complaint morning since the Piers Morgan/Meghan Markle row. That infamous episode, in which Morgan stormed off set and ultimately quit the program, still looms large in the minds of producers. While Adil Ray's controversy hasn't reached that fever pitch yet, the parallels are hard to ignore. Caught in the middle. Caught in the crossfire was Susanna Reid, GMB's long-serving anchor who has weathered every storm the show has endured. Viewers noted her increasingly awkward body language throughout the broadcast. Some accused her of rolling her eyes at Ray's jokes, while others thought she looked visibly uncomfortable as he clashed with guests. Social media comments reflected sympathy for her. Poor Susanna. She deserves better than Adil Ray dragging the show down. She must miss Ben Shepherd. He's professional, calm, and respectful. Susanna is carrying the show, but Adil makes it unbearable. For Reid, it's a familiar position. She has become the steady hand amid constant lineup changes, often forced to smooth over the chaos created by more polarizing colleagues. Fans demand change. The growing backlash quickly escalated into calls for ITV to drop Ray from the program altogether. Many fans were explicit in their demands. Enough is enough. Get rid of him. If ITV won't listen to viewers, they'll lose viewers. He ruins every episode he's on. Axe him. It wasn't just armchair critics either. Even some media commentators weighed in, suggesting that ITV needs to rethink its rotation of presenters if it wants to maintain credibility. One columnist wrote, GMB thrives on strong personalities, but there's a fine line between challenging authority and undermining the integrity of the broadcast. Adil Ray hasn't found the balance. ITV's dilemma. Behind the scenes, producers are facing a difficult decision. On one hand, controversy drives ratings. Every time a host sparks debate, the show trends online and pulls in curious viewers. Adil Ray's antics, whether loved or hated, keep people talking about Good Morning Britain. On the other hand, ITV is wary of alienating its core audience. Loyal viewers who feel disrespected or annoyed may switch off entirely, which would be disastrous for morning ratings. So far, ITV has declined to issue an official statement, but insiders say the complaints are being taken seriously. One executive reportedly admitted that, if this continues, we'll have to reconsider how often he fronts the program. A history of viewer fury. This isn't the first time GMB has been rocked by complaints over its presenters. Piers Morgan was the most notorious example, but even popular hosts like Richard Madeley and Kate Garraway have occasionally faced criticism. Morning television is an unforgiving arena, where personalities are scrutinized daily by millions of viewers. What makes Adil Ray's situation unique is the sheer consistency of the backlash. Unlike Morgan, who had a loyal fan base alongside his detractors, Ray seems to inspire little middle ground. People either tolerate him or demand his immediate removal. What happens next? For now, Adil Ray is scheduled to continue appearing on GMB as part of its rotating roster. But if the flood of complaints keeps growing, ITV may have no choice but to quietly scale back his appearances. Television executives rarely bow to public pressure overnight, but history shows that viewer sentiment does matter. Whether Adil Ray sees this as a challenge to double down on his combative style, or as a wake-up call to soften his approach, remains to be seen. As for viewers, they'll be watching closely, and tweeting furiously, the next time his face appears on screen. Conclusion. Good Morning Britain thrives on drama, debate, and the unpredictability of live television. But with the latest flood of complaints, ITV finds itself at a crossroads. Should it stick with Adil Ray, banking on the old adage that there's no such thing as bad publicity? Or should it listen to its loyal viewers who are demanding change? Either way, one thing is clear. Breakfast TV is never dull, and as long as personalities like Adil Ray are in the mix, GMB will remain the most talked about show in morning broadcasting.